Hi guys, Ready Set RC back again today, and today we have the Losi DBXL-E 2.0 on the bench and doing the final thoughts / review of this RC. Taking this out on speed test or speed checks. We've driven this on grass, loose surface, taking it off the ramps, and finally our last video we did with this, we took it to the beach. Tons of fun, guys. If you haven't taken your RC out on the beach before, please do. If you're near a beach, just throw some paddles on it and enjoy. But we've taken this on several different surfaces, and we're here to do our final thoughts of this buggy. So at this point, we're going to go over electronics, drivetrain, handling and suspension, durability, workability, support, is it worth it, and would I buy it again? Electronics. And as we go into this, full disclosure, the controller that comes with this is the DX2E Active. I did not use that controller. Most of you guys who have been viewers of the channel for a while know I bind my Losis up to my DX4R Pro. It is a Spectrum controller. I've used the DX2E Active in the past. I do not have any problems with it. Next, going into the ESC, we've made no changes to this, guys. I've made absolutely no changes to the ESC, so I did not change the timing on this. I did not change the punch settings on this. I didn't change anything, the braking, nothing on this ESC at all. And the reason for that is, and I'm going to explain this very quickly to you guys, if you look through the manual and you look on the website, it basically states that this buggy should not be running on anything less than 100C rating batteries. I ran 8S 100C rated batteries. Had no problems with the punch setting, had no problems with the timing. I run two 4S 6500 100C batteries, and that's all that I use primarily in my 8S vehicles. Great batteries, and maybe I'll do a review or a video on that sometime in the future, but for right now, we're talking about this RC. Motor temps and ESC temps as of right now. When I bought this RC, it was December. I was not part of the purchasing of the first wave of these RCs. So for me, temps have been good. I've been only driving it in the winter. So you got to take that with a grain of salt at this point. Later on when I drive this in the summer, we'll see how temps are. But for right now, in driving in the winter, temps have been well under reason. If you look at the first video that I did with this RC, I did take temps of the ESC, the motor, the battery, the servo, just to give you guys an idea. And it was a very cold day, but you guys get an idea of what the temps are in this, and they were in reason. We have a large 5th scale motor on here. It's a 780 kV motor, more than enough power on here. I mean, this thing is a little over 28 pounds without batteries, a little over 30 pounds with batteries, and I'm telling you, you need a motor this size to push that kind of weight, and it did. No issues whatsoever. Where I did feel there was a concern is braking. Braking on this wasn't the greatest. I'll have to say, when I took it on loose surfaces, braking changed dramatically. I don't know if it was actually putting more time in with this and understanding a little bit more when to kind of brake and hit those turns. I noticed that the braking got better over the other 2 runs that I ran with this. So basically, when I ran this out on the beach and when I ran this out on loose surface, the brakes, I did not have an issue with it at all. The large area that I just ripped it, I noticed that the braking was a little bit on the weak side, and that could potentially be, I was trying to push it a lot harder on that first run, and that could have been the reason. But I noticed that the braking improved over time of using this vehicle. Now, once again, as I said, I've made no changes to braking. Now, the other area that I'll probably move into later on in the past, if I do see that there's an issue, is that I'm not going to change the settings on the motor. I will go ahead and install a mechanical brake on this, similar to what most people do when they convert their 5th scale 5Ts over to brushless. They still keep the mechanical brake in there. I'd probably do the same thing with this. I would move this over to mechanical brake rather than having the motor put all that force in to stopping this car. As for the servo, I noticed that this performed better as I took it on loose surfaces and at the beach. The first run, I noticed that it was a little underwhelming on the high traction grass area, but as I took it to looser areas and that back was able to break out, I had no problems with the servo whatsoever. I did at one point thought to change this over to a dual servo setup. It is capable of doing that. They do have the spacing to allow you to do that. But for testing purposes, I decided to keep it stock, and I thought it did pretty well throughout the life cycle of this run. And just to speak on the receiver, had no cutouts from the receiver when I bound this up to my DX4R. Drivetrain. Had no brakes in regards to the front and rear drive shafts, no binding, nothing whatsoever. In regards to the center drive shaft, it's a big, beefy drive shaft you have in this RC, and I've had no issues with the drivetrain on here. No issues with differentials, no issue with gear stripping out, no issues with the center diff, nothing whatsoever. The center diff on this is huge, it's beefy. As I said, I've gone over it on the unboxing. It's big and beefy on this RC, guys, and I'm telling you right now, no issues whatsoever when it came to the drivetrain on this. Handling and suspension. This is the one thing I'm going to say, and I think I've stated this before in my previous videos, is that the handling on this buggy is very much like its little brother, the DB Pro. And just so you guys are aware, the DB Pro is basically an SETE, the 10 lineup. If you have a Tenacity, a SCTE, a SEBE, all of those have the 10 lineage in there, and this is no different. This definitely drives just like the DB Pro, just bigger. So any of you guys who have the DB Pro or even the new TT Pro out there, this drives just like it. This jumps just like it. I have an SCBE, and this reminds me so much of it. How it flies in the air, how it handles. It doesn't handle like a fifth scale. It handles like an 8 scale. It handles very much like an 8 scale. And it's just so nimble and quick. It feels good. If you have the right batteries, the right setup, the right area to drive this, it's an amazing, amazing RC. I mean, I've noticed where the handling on this, it just stays planted on all fours. It does not shift. I put paddles on this, performed just as well as if I had these Maxxis on here. It just soaks up and shifts and hugs and bounces. I mean, and bounces, and it's just a very well-tuned buggy, guys. It's just well-tuned. So I'll have to say, for handling and suspension, this is excellent. An excellent RC out there. For durability, I had some tumbles with this, nothing crazy. I mean, probably the biggest tumbles that I had with this is when I hit the ramps. And for a fifth scale, it handled a lot of that shifting of the weight well. It took tumbles and no brakes, guys. I have no brakes on here. Now, I will be honest with you, is that I have watched videos of this, and I will say that I have seen where people are having problems with the pinion. I have not had those problems. But then again, as I will say, is that I may have gotten this in a separate batch from when everyone else got it, because I did buy it later than most of the videos that I saw on YouTube are out there, and I have not had any issues with it. That doesn't mean that I won't have issues with my pinion, but as of right now, I've had no issues with the pinion. And that brings us to workability. I've not done anything on this buggy to require work. The most I've ever done was cleaning this thing up. I took the top lid off, because you guys know it's hinged. I took the top lid off, 2 screws on the back. It was very easy to take it off. I think once you take that off, the whole interior is open to you. You can do anything. I mean, there's nothing really where you're going to be limited to access anything. So I don't see where working on this is going to be that difficult. It's wide open. Support. So as you know, with Losi products, they are backed by Horizon Hobby. Horizon Hobby I've worked with in the past in regards to any issues that I've had in regards to ordering things. I've never had a problem with Horizon Hobby and their support. So I'm not going to expect anything different when it comes to the DBXL-E 2.0 and calling them up for anything that I may see is an issue with it. I've had no issues with the DBXL-E 2.0 to reach out to them or to contact them pertaining to this vehicle. Is it worth it? But you got to remember it's a fit scale and it's a true fit scale. And what I mean by that is it has fit scale electronics, it has a fit scale drivetrain, it has a fit scale size, fit scale handling. Everything in this screams fit scale. There are no 8 scale parts on here, no 8 scale servos in here, motor, ESC, shocks, drive shafts, nothing in here, arms, nothing in here on this RC screams 8th at all. All of it screams fit scale. And because of that, I will say price is 100% worth it. If you look at what you got from the prior version, I think the prior version was going for $999, maybe $1,000, and then they had a screaming Mimi sale over the holidays, and that was around the time when I bought this, and that was insane. I would say even that price was insane and definitely deserving if you went ahead and you purchased Gen 1 of that brushless version. It was worth it. But for what you get on this, the durability, I think it's more than worth it. I know how much a 5T brushless would go for, and this definitely falls in line with that kind of pricing. And I will have to say that it's worth. Take this thing out. You're going to enjoy it, guys. I'm telling you right now, this RC is amazing. You would definitely enjoy it. And that leads us right into would I buy it again? And I have to say, yes, I would buy this again. Would I like to see a price drop? Of course, any consumer would love to see a price drop. But would I be angry at myself or have buyer's remorse to say, no, I'm not. I'm not that guy. I do understand to get the whole Fox livery on the side of it, to get these Maxxis tires on here, I know that I'm paying for that. And you know, what I've seen with Losi products is that you'll see the price initially at this price point, and then once they've made their money, you're going to see a drop on the price. Now, can you wait for it? Maybe so. But for me, I wanted to get this and I wanted to tell you guys how this performs, how it acts. And that means that sometimes I'm going to pay that extra price in just so that I can tell you guys how this thing performs and is it worth for you to spend your money on it. So for me, definitely, this was worth it. I always wanted the Gen 1. When I saw this, especially with the Fox livery on here, I really wanted to get this and I ordered it up. I'm not going to get into the discussion of would I get this or an X-Max, or would I get this or Kraton 8S. I think those are different vehicles, guys. Maybe the Kraton 8S probably falls a little bit more in line in this. I mean, if you take this cage off and you take it for what it is underneath, maybe this falls in line with the Kraton 8S, and I did buy this over the Kraton 8S. And the Kraton 8S, me purchasing or not purchasing that, had nothing to do with comparing it to this or not. It was just things that I saw in the Kraton 8S that I'm gonna wait for version 2 to come out before I purchased it. Similar to what I did with this. When I saw Gen 1, I saw some of the issues that I personally did not want to deal with, and I waited for Gen 2 to come out, and now is the time for me to make that purchase. So similar is what I would say in regards to this or the Kraton 8S. Now, if I compare this to my other large scales, and what I mean, let me clarify what I mean by large scales. Large scale, low center of gravity vehicles. So I'm excluding my Sen Colossus, I'm excluding my X-Max. What I'm considering in that heap, for those that don't know what my collection looks like, what I'm considering in that is the DBXL-E 2.0, my Red Cat Chimera, my Super Baja Ray, my Super Rock Ray, and the Axial Yeti XL. That one I'll give it a pass because I haven't really taken that one out. But for all the other ones, Super Rockway, Super Baja Ray, Red Cat Chimera, and this blows them all out. If you're going to ask me, you know, this or a Super Baja Ray, all day. All day the DBXL-E. And yes, there is a significant price jump between this and the Super Baja Ray, but this all day. This and the Super Rockway, not even close. Not even going to even have that discussion. Not even close. I would get this well over the Super Rockway. And for the Red Cat Chimera, they got to make better plastics for me to enjoy that more. I've had some issues in regards to the plastics on that, but that is one of the old style Red Cat when the plastics were questionable. But the Red Cat Chimera is not a DBXL-E. But that's it, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram for our latest post to the channel. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.